So as oil production grows, water production grows. And the aha for me is there still is no permanent substitute or alternative to water disposal. So what we call recycling is really just, it's a diversion. It's a use of the water on the way to what will ultimately still be underground injection. And the question to which I don't have an answer is, how scalable is the underground injection capacity of the Permian Basin? I think earthquakes are a problem, and earthquakes, all else equal, are going to make it harder to permit new injection outlets. And we've seen, the Railroad Commission on kind of emergency basis curtail existing injection wells. So there's a short-term disruption of saying, well, I can't inject it here, so I got to move it 100 miles away and inject it there. And if I move in a truck, that's a lot of money. If the market will respond and people will build pipes fairly quickly. And
it's just, water is so heavy, it's so costly to move, so you can't do it long distances. I took a deep dive in the water midstream space for about 12 months before the pandemic, and the one thing that hasn't been solved is treating the water to where it can be used for agricultural purposes and to the point where it can be drinkable. No one's cracked that nut yet.
No, right? Well, and you don't even have to drink it. I think if you come back to energy transition, the thing if I had a research budget, what I would probably spend some money on is saying, what would it take to get the water to a position where I could use it as a feedstock for an electrolyzer? And what mix of evaporation or treatment, filtration would I use? What do I do with the resulting solids that are captured? Drinking is kind of the holy grail, but it's like, what can I use it for something other than injection, or can I dispose of it through a means other than injection, I think is the exam question. And until that question gets answered, coming back to your kind of your royalty investing stakeholders, I think the availability of reliable water injection becomes now, and maybe the advanced guys are already doing it, becomes an additional kind of filtering mechanism or valuation consideration. Because I think it's simple. I mean, we already had E&P companies telling us, this stuff on university lands is some of the best stuff in our inventory, but we're not going to drill it because we don't have enough midstream takeaway. And if we drilled it in 22, we'd end up flaring some of it. We don't want to flare, so we're going to go drill some grade B stuff, and then we'll come back to this stuff in 24 when either the midstreamers finally got around to building more compression, or we've declined our production out of this area. So if they're doing that for flaring, which really doesn't cost them anything other than reputation and metrics, they're certainly going to start to shape their drilling portfolios based on water disposal capacity, because those are hard dollars they have to spend. Those are by far the biggest chunk of OpEx, I think, in most cases, is going to be water disposal. So I think that becomes again, I think you got a lot of folks who are a lot smarter than I am, and we're probably we're on this for a while. But for me, it was like, and a lot of the earthquakes around Midland, we don't own any acreage in Midland County. We're actually looking as potentially an opportunity for university lands, because there's been so much drilling activity in Midland and Martin. We own a little bit of acreage in Martin County, and maybe there's an opportunity for investors to move water out of those areas which are constrained, and maybe move it up to Andrews or down to Reagan, where we own a lot of land, and maybe companies can develop highly prolific disposal wells, and university lands can get some royalty off that. Yeah. So I think the whole, what are we going to do with all this water is a question I don't have the answer to. It's something, it's honestly, it's something, an area that I'm going to spend a lot of time, thinking about as I try and figure out what I go do next.